The 10-year setup for this, for these, or the 3-year setup for the expiration of these credits was intentionally put in. It was put in when you controlled the White House, the House, and the Senate. You couldn't get it passed for longer. And so this is a setup that kind of your own creation that you all couldn't extend beyond that. Now you want the Republicans to do something you didn't do when you were in power?
It's not a setup.
The Democrats have now decided to own the record government shutdown circus, potentially starving the poor as a means to use leverage against the White House and the American people.
Shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Leverage. Yeah, sure, they're okay with people suffering, but boy, does it give them leverage. For what? To appease their radical base, to show their radical base they're fighting Donald Trump. So they've made the calculation it's okay to cause suffering to families.
But why not vote to fund the government, at least for now, and then negotiate on the subsidies later while the government is open?
Clearly, the Republicans don't want to negotiate.
Donald Trump is withholding the money because he wants to inflict maximum pain on Americans to hope it helps him politically.
The Republicans are not allowed in the room. So the operating budget that increased taxes, the Democrats that we went to, $78 billion, it's all the Democrats' budget.
It is truly amazing how a program Democrats created and tax credits that they chose to sunset have now become the Republicans' crisis.
Over 42 million SNAP recipients, 1 in 8 Americans, leaning on $188 monthly to survive, are facing a November blackout.
I want to be in the grocery store when they start looting it, because you think that people are going to be hungry? You think that these people not going to get their Thanksgiving? Baby, when they run up in there and start stealing them turkeys, oh, it's going to be like Christmas game.
Now you're threatening us, talking about if they get rid of the SNAP, but I'm going to start stealing. Every time I turn around and look on the internet, y'all stealing in Walmart, you're stealing in Walgreens, you're stealing in CVS, you're stealing everywhere. What is you talking about? That ain't no threat. You've been stealing.
I'm going to be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow. I am going to go in that store, get everything I get regularly, and I'm going to have one of my cousins with me that'll punch your ass so hard you're going to think a Jet 2 holiday hit your bitch ass if you think I ain't finna walk out that store.
Get ready. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's going to get lit. BJ's, Costco's. Get ready.
From Texas's 3.5 million hungry, including 1.7 million children, to the shadows of New York's 3 million in the urban and rural areas, anticipating the $8 billion SNAP program's collapse.
It's baffling to me that some people feel like other people need to earn food.
It's bad to do. At the same time, they're probably doing it for a reason. They need those things.
With or without EBT, me and mine gonna eat.
How they gonna pay the light bill? And they can't sell stamps.
She works at the food stamp office. Listen to what she says.
It is because of Trump. There ain't no sidestepping it. I'm blaming him for everything.
Media megaphones weaponize Trump's supposed failure.
I think they all ought to have their head shaven. They should be put in orange pajamas. And they should be marched down Pennsylvania Avenue, and the public should be invited to spit on them. The universities, the corporations, the law firms, all of these collaborators should be shaved, pajamaed, and spit on.
It's a double standard, as bold as it is reckless, fanning the flames of a starving, misdirected mob ready to unleash hell on their fellow innocent Americans as they race forward toward unyielding, violent speech.
Poor people, all they want is for us to fight. So if you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck.
You guys say this is about saving healthcare, but how do these pet projects fit
Yeah, we
in?
have no idea what you're talking about or what Republican extremists fed you those talking points.
The head of the Lenawee County Democratic Party, Bill Swift, who also called for anyone that supported Donald Trump be hung, like I said 11 months ago, attended the Dingle Unity Dinner, posing with an 8647 sign and also a MAGA equals a Nazi sign. Now, some on the other side of the chamber were at this event. They were headliners. The Secretary of State, your state party chair, he headlined the event. These are the same people who claim to be the champions of civility. You're the same people that tell me that words matter, that rhetoric can incite violence. And then when it's your side, when it's hate directed at a Republican president, you laugh and suddenly say, well, it's speech. It's a resistance. It's a restaurant industry term. It's art. It's not resistance. It's true hypocrisy.
You have these real sociopaths that are real anti-Semites, true white supremacists like Stephen Miller. And even though he's Jewish, he's like a Nazi Jew.
No longer tongue-in-cheek. It is now a full-blown incitement of national chaos by bureaucratic domestic terrorists. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
All right, here we are.
Feel the unstoppable power of Alex Jones, fueled by.
All right, welcome to the show. November 1st. Man, this year flew. 2025, Saturday Night Live. Thank you for being here. Let me check my sound. I think I'm good. Hope everybody's having the fucking best weekend possible. I'm freaked out right now, so this might be that one show that you're like, man, that dude needs to go soak his head, because there's a lot going on. Let me get into the show, what we got going on tonight. Along with the China wars and we have these Egypt jets that have been found at the Charlie Kirk assassination. And let's see, we have a lot to get into tonight. We got the No Kings thing, or not, I guess it's the riots. What are we going to call them? You want to call them riots yet, or you want to call them burning down the country, or what do you want to call them? Mob violence. We got a lot of that tonight. We're going to get into that. There's my sound isn't right yet. Let me get my sound right here, people. So I'm good. Thank you for being here. If you're new, I'm a one-man show. I do this on my own. I don't have any help. I just I put this stuff together. I do the best I can to pull stuff from all over the internet, and I do as much research as I can while manning the ramparts with all kinds of other stuff. So anyway, this is what we got. We got this EBT SNAP benefit cancellation, and the truth is, when you step back and look at how bad it is, you really look how bad it is. And what I mean by that is how much money, how many billions of dollars they spend on illegal aliens and people that are capable of having a job, but they don't because they've been on government assistance their whole life. You think about how much money is spent, and the only reason why we found out about this is really because when they shut it down and started looking into it, there's billions and billions of people on, I think it's I believe it's 4.7 billion people on SNAP benefits, something like that. I'll look. We got a couple clips about it here shortly. I don't know. I could have my numbers off. They're threatening to, do mob rule. They've been pretty much out there doing it quite a bit. I didn't pull a bunch of those clips that we know what it looks like to loot stores and all that stuff. ICE facilities, ICE out there picking up illegals and being attacked by women, and we got people taking their family, the whole family, the 4-year-old, the 17-year-old, the 16, the 15-year-old, all going in the store and coming out with stuff that they stole from the store while live streaming it. That's the perfect criminal, right? Live stream your theft. I mean, it's crazy. Anyway, we have some stuff for you tonight. We're going to get into it. This one right here, though, you can't see it very well. It's China's war on Christmas. We're gonna get into that too, and that's a big one because uh, Christmas is the happiest time of the year. Um, and while I grab my bearings here, because I've been doing research for like 6 hours, and my brain has to I have to calm down, come back down to reality here while I'm doing this. Because by the way, one of the things I did today is Dale Bigtree, the his new film documentary came out a couple days ago, and I watched it today, and I was on the treadmill, my morning workout, and I was on the treadmill, and I was listening to this, and I'm not no pussy or nothing, but I had tears in my eyes because I have two children that are autistic. Obviously, they're not the same autistic. Well, I mean, not obviously. I have one that's an Asperger's type, social anxiety, social cues, has a hard time in crowds and, loud noises and, and bright lights. And I have one of those, 17. And then I have a kid that is like on a jackhammer all the time. He's so wound up all the time. ADHD is just through the roof. And so this is really personal to me. And listening to Dale, and the whole thing that movie and talking to some parents, when interviewing these parents and stuff, and they feel guilty, you know what I mean, about you know we didn't know. I didn't know. I had no idea. I mean, I heard rumbles about it all over the years and years about people talking about, oh, you probably shouldn't get your kid the childhood vaccinations because they're poison or they're this or they're that. And I was just like everybody else. You know what I mean? I want to send my kids to school, so I got to get these vaccinations. They give them to you, start giving you vaccinations soon as you're born, and all that stuff. And just to see the devastation was very hard. It was very hard to watch. Just the video, the show. It's about an hour and 25 minutes or so long, and just it's very difficult for me to watch that, knowing that my kids are struggling. And obviously, my kids are not struggling like some of these other parents that, as soon as they got the vaccinations, within hours, their kid went from, playing sports to being paralyzed or nonverbal or whatever. It's just so sad. And then you got these coward scientists and doctors and stuff that won't touch it because they're afraid of their well-being. They don't want to touch it because if they do, their whole careers will be ended and all that stuff. But what about the people that are affected by the vaccine injured, the families? What about the kids? What about all these children that are, completely devastated for life, and the families that, all that stuff? I mean, it's like, how could anybody ever allow that to happen? And we can go back. We can go back to we can go all the way back to the my earpiece is gonna give me trouble. I'm gonna have to switch it here. The next when I pull a video, I'm gonna have to change my earpiece. I don't like it. Um, what? How could anybody with a sound mind, unless because we've come to the understanding that we're dealing with satanic cult people in the medical field, and and in these in all these agencies, FBI, CIA, all these they're all, we know they're I mean, you just look at them, you can just see it in their eyes. But how could you allow this to happen to our children and not be like, absolutely cannot let this happen? I mean, because they proved it. They proved that the vaccines are killing and damaging people, the children. The children. I mean, why would they give you a hepatitis vaccine at birth? It's for money. My kid, none of my kids are going to be shooting heroin and having sex at 1 day old. I'm just saying. And so anyway, we got that is going on. That's in my head, and what I do is when something comes up like this, when I get because I'm pretty throttled by this. When this happens, what I do is I submerge myself into whatever I'm doing, so I can kind of focus on something else instead of focus on that. And it's just hard. It's just hard. It's just a very difficult thing. And maybe you're one of those people out there, and you're going through similar to what I've had to go through. Because let's face it, when my son was my older boy, when he was like 3 years old, I started seeing these signs that he was like something. He was different. There was something going on. And so we started getting the testing for, back then, 17 years ago or 14 years ago, they used to categorize it as different parts of autism, Asperger's or whatever it is. And they literally was like, your son has Asperger. He has signs of Asperger's. And now they just call it, they just have a blanket autism. It's all the same. Now everything's just the same, right? You just got different levels, different thing. Anyway. And so tell a father and a mother that there's nothing that you could do about it. You have to learn how to adapt to the way your son is, not your son's going to adapt to the world. When autism, man, you don't have, you have to adapt to how your kid is, you know, and it's very, very sad. I mean, I'm super grateful that, he could talk and he could walk and he's not bedridden or, all the things. I feel so bad for those parents that you know got their kid vaccinated, and then within hours they couldn't talk anymore, or they couldn't play football or ride motorcycle, whatever it is that they were doing prior to it. It's just, and then you go to the doctor, they're like, oh no, it's not from the vaccine. It's not from that. It's, he's got some rare formality, some disease or something. They come up with something. I mean, sad, very sad. We're gonna pull a clip on that, and I'm gonna do a special next Friday. You don't want to miss it. I'm gonna have a doctor in here. We're gonna break down this movie, Dale Bigtree movie. We're gonna break it down, and we're gonna go over all the things with autism and all that stuff next Friday. So you don't want to miss that. I'm letting everybody know now that that's what we're going to do next Friday. Let me pull it. Let me get the name of this. Just a second. I'm going to just pull the name up real quick. Want everybody to I want everybody to have an opportunity to watch this movie. It's on. I'm looking up the name real quick. There's right here. Just a second. What is this movie called? Oh yeah, inconvenient study, an inconvenient study, and I believe you can go to my Twitter and find it, my X account under Inspector Web Pod. You can get it there, or Inspector Web. You can find it also. It's right on there. It's under see the vaccine documentary. that has big pharma shaking in their boots. That's what that is. And I'm going to go ahead and repost it right now. So if anybody wants to check that out, it's a very informational. It tells you about how they have done this for years, just right in your face. It's horrible. Anyway, all right. So all right. Let me get focused here. We have a bunch of stuff tonight on this November 1st. I hope everyone had a very good Halloween. In this household, when the kids are going out trick or treating, we already have our Christmas stuff on the ground, and my wife spends the weekend. She spent all weekend, or today, tomorrow, changing out the the Halloween stuff and putting out all the Christmas, and our house will look like a white Christmas for the next couple months. Because it's the best time of the year for my wife. She just loves Christmas. We're totally into it. We do a ton of stuff for charity and stuff like that, and this is what we do. So, I hope everyone's gearing up for a great Christmas and the birth of Jesus Christ. All right, where am I at here? That one video that we just watched was Democrat prepare to loot the entire country. Obviously, you've seen a lot of that going on currently. This is a major thing that's going on. They're gonna, they've already said that if their SNAP benefits didn't get turned back on, that they were gonna start burning down the cities and stuff. And that's what they do, because if they don't get their way, they're like 5-year-old kids. If they don't get their way, they throw a fit. And like I was saying before, this shows you where the country's at as far as how much money that we spend on people that are, there's no way to put it. They're just fucking freeloaders. People that are capable of having a job. They're not like, I get it if you're disabled, or or you're retired, or that totally understand that. Or maybe you come up on hard times, and you're restarting, and you have to get your life together, whatever it is. I totally get that, using some assistance for a short time to get your ass back in gear. But these people have been on assistance their whole life. Their families, they come from families that's been on government assistance, and it's like it just goes back further and further and further. Like nobody in their family ever had a job. So anyway, we're gonna get into some of this right now. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this information everywhere. And please comment. Comment about what you see here. We're on Rumble, Getter, YouTube, and Rumble. And we appreciate if you would interact with us so that we can get. Because one of the things that people have told me, especially on Twitter, you have to literally put in my information exact. So I don't know if it's shadow banning or whatever. But it's a weird thing with the algorithm. So when people comment and they they interact with me on all the platforms, it brings me up closer to where people can find me, because a lot of people can't find me. So anyway, probably because of the kind of stuff that I talk about, like vaccine injured, right? So that's the thing. All right, we're gonna get into this. Let me get over here. Let me see where I'm gonna go. We're just going to get into this. We're going to look at some stuff right now about this whole thing with the shutdown and the way the Democrats are acting and all this stuff. We're just going to get into it. As I get warmed up, we'll talk about this stuff. But for now, stand by. Let's get started here. Build Back Better. You know about that? But what if this fine young lady was kicking your door down? My question for you.
If I came in your house with all my bags, picking out all your food, deep freezer, snacks, your grandmama's milk, and everything, what you gonna do? I'm curious. What you gonna do if I was to walk in your house and go grocery shopping in your shit?
My kids have not eaten in 5 days. It is the taxpayer's responsibility to take care of my kids.
Trump done cut them food stamps off. If you're poor, don't have kids, okay? If you're struggling, don't have kids. Don't bring more in. If you already have them, that's another situation. If you don't have them, don't bring any in. And if you have two, don't go having another one. If you have one, don't go having two more.
So they say 2 million is getting cut off this month for the scamps. I'm about to go find out if I'm in that number, in that ratio.
It's been day 5 and I have not received no food stamps. My disability checks is on hold. My cash benefits is not coming no more. They're still pending. It is the taxpayer's job to pay for my kids to eat and for my kids to be taken care of. I have over 2,000 followers on TikTok and I can't get not one person to send me 50 cents. If you're watching a video and you can't send me nothing, I'll block you.
Hi, you guys. I'm out of the store. So they wanted $7 for this. Mind you, I don't have food stamps anymore. They cut me off. So I only had $22 left in food stamps. So this is what I stole. Okay. They wanted $9 for this. I said, oh, I don't got $9. Then they wanted $2 for this. They wanted, sorry, it's all fucked up because it's been in my purse. $7 for this. I'm making some stuffed salmon today. These are needed. I'm not paying $7 for that. Okay. Let me show you the most important thing to me. Short ribs. Take off the label so that you don't beep. Get your fucking meat. How many do you think that I got? How many short ribs is that? And can I be real? More of y'all bitch ass niggas should have started taking shit from the motherfucking corporations a long time ago. Y'all just didn't have that shit in your motherfucking bones. Get out there and get in the motherfucking field like I told you. Everything out here is yours. Whether or not you take it, they call that shit free will. I call that shit eminent domain. You know what I'm saying? One thing I learned from the white men, take it! Hey, now! Take it! I don't give a fuck who's already sitting there. I don't give a fuck if your land was already established. Bitch, it's mine now, and I want it. That is what we should be preaching in the land to the fucking masses. Act more like a white man. Take it for yourself, bitch, and you won't be worried about who don't got it. You see what I'm saying? Get out there and ravish. Last but not least, go in that church and infiltrate. Don't be stupid. Get in there. Ask them for some rent money. Ask them for some help. You've been tithing. Say your lights is off. You need a stipend. You need some food. Go to the church. Ask for help. If the pastor don't help you out, blast them on social media. Quickest way to fuck up the church's money is ask for some. Go do it. See what you get. Report back to a real bitch. Let me know. If the church doesn't help you after all those tithes you gave, well, go ask for your tithes back. See if they can give you a donation form and they can just redonate your money back to you. See if they can do that. If they can't, I want you to come back under this post and give me the reason why they said they cannot reimburse you back the money you and your family have given to them for years. Also, why they can't help you. Let me know.
When you got the whole team helping, no EBT.
So you're going to steal my basket full of groceries after I leave the store? Yeah, I don't think so there, Hen.
I've seen a lot of videos talking about how people's EBT is getting cut off, and so they're going to be stealing groceries straight out of the store. But I've also seen a lot of videos talking about how people are going to grab baskets whenever they come out of the store. That way they're not stealing from the store, they're stealing from an individual. Well, you grab my shopping cart full of groceries that I bought and paid for with my fucking money. You're going to hear two sounds. There's going to be three sounds. Maybe. Certainly going to be two sounds. The first sound you're going to hear is me saying, now, Han, that's a bad idea there. Better walk the fuck on. If you don't walk the fuck on, that'll be the next sound you fucking hear. And the third sound, son, I'll hear it. You won't. No, sir. I'll fucking hear it. And you fucking won't. Now, people are going to come back on this video and say, oh, you'd end somebody over a basket full of groceries? Yeah, I would. You're damn right. Because that person that's deciding to steal from me, they've already decided that that's what their life is worth. Well, they made that decision. They made that choice. Don't fucking steal from me. Fuck around and find out.
There are 42 million people in this country that need food stamps on a weekly basis. And we're saying people deliberately instead of Americans because most of the people that are on food stamps aren't even from this country. 45% of Afghanistan immigrants are on food stamps, 42% of Somali immigrants, 34% of every immigrant from Iraq, 23% of Haitians, 59% of all illegal aliens are collecting food stamps, meaning that most of the people getting food stamps from the U.S. government and the U.S. taxpayer are not even Americans. Think about that. And we didn't know about any of this before the government shutdown started, but thanks to Democrats, we can confirm tonight that millions of Joe Biden illegal aliens, people who crossed the border when Joe was president, are now collecting food stamps from a program funded by hardworking American taxpayers.
Yeah, so there you have it. I mean, I think you got the gist of it, right? That's where we're at. My favorite one out of all of them is the little 2-year-old running with a banana in her fucking hand. I mean, it's like, are you really teaching your kids? And I don't know if that's like some kind of spoof, because there's you don't know, but it just was very interesting to me that that all that stuff that you just seen. You got the chick putting on makeup, telling you how you're gonna go get yours because you got to go get your money and all that. I mean, what happened? I mean, I get that that's the ghetto ass people in this country, that probably never had nothing and never will because they don't have the ability to go get it, go to work hard and earn it. I get that. I totally understand that. But what I don't understand is this. If I mean, many years ago, I grew up in the ghetto. My mom was poor, my dad was gone. We lived in, we lived in the hood and my mom had two jobs taking care of two boys, two wild ass boys, and she worked two jobs and she was on food stamps to subsidize what she was doing. She's a waitress, and that's how she took care of us boys, two teenage boys, and she used that government assistance to help her to feed the kids because all her money went to pay the bills, right? Good, she's a very great mom. She did the best she could, and she's an older lady, and that's how she did it. And I totally understand. But it wasn't like she's sitting around eating bonbons or whatever and living off the system because that's not how we did it. But I'm sure that if you've never had anything or you've never found out how to write a resume or go to work or work hard to earn your keep or whatever, I kind of get how that goes. But like Reagan back in the 80s made this program. It was called the Welfare to Work program, and I think that's what Trump was talking about. I mean, obviously he didn't implement that, but there has been some talk about doing stuff like welfare to work. You have to work a certain amount of hours in order to get your benefits. And I've even seen some videos on that whole thing. They need to do something to, you know, change the trajectory of like how we spend our, taxpayers' money, right? Because we know that they're supposed to, because when you look at like housing tax, like when I get my mortgage statement, I think I get one twice a year or something, and it has all these impact fees, roads, schools, all this stuff, and that's supposed to go to fix the roads. Well, we know they don't fix the damn roads. You know, your road gets fixed once every 10 years or something, and potholes everywhere. That's just kind of how it is, especially here in California. If you're in a high rent district, you probably get your areas taken care of really quick. The middle class, probably not so much, and the lower class, they never fix those roads. But my point is, our tax money is not supposed to go to take care of people with their hand out. It's supposed to go to the schools and fixing the roads and build a library and all stuff like that. But instead, we're spending billions of dollars to pay for people to live, whether it's AFDC or whatever it's called nowadays. That's what it was called back. Government assistance was called something like that back then, and I'm not sure what it would be called nowadays because I have no idea. But you would think that there would be some program to get people. I don't know what they call them nowadays. Welfare recipients is what it was called. And it's not a put down. It's about like you should be out there earning your keep. I mean, who can live off of a few $100s a month? I don't understand it. And then I remember, well, there were all, a lot of those people in the neighborhood, maybe they'd sell weed on the side or, maybe they'd sell some, something else, you know what I mean? And, they had, some kind of a side hustle so that they had some other form of income for the month so that they could get through the month, whatever it was. Right. And that's what I remember when I was a kid because we lived in apartments, right? And that's kind of the thing. And I can totally see where that goes. But my uncle taught me early on, man, you want something, you go work for it. You go get your ass out there, get on that roof, get in the ditch, dig a ditch, whatever, learn how to work on cars, do something so that you can take care of yourself and your family if you ever have one. That was when I was 12 years old. Now, I was working on cars when I was 10 or 12 years old. I was already changing spark plugs and oils and, doing all that stuff because they taught me to do something with myself instead of sitting around smoking weed all the time, right? Which we did that too, but that's beside the point. So, what's your thought on that? Like, what do you think? Do you think that we should be, paying taxes so that people like what you just seen on the screen can, keep their hand out? Oh, the government's supposed to take care of my kids. The government it's the taxpayer's job to feed my kids. Do you think it should be like that, or do you think that maybe just maybe, they should have some kind of an incentive to get to work to take care of themselves so we don't have to. I'm just curious. It's just I'm asking how's that go? I'm just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend. Anyway, asking for a friend. Uh Looking for something specific here. Just give me a second. I have a couple of the oh here we go. Stand by.
See, now listen, everybody talking about reparations.
Uh-oh.
Your reparations was welfare. Your reparations was food stamps. Your reparations was government housing. Y'all been getting reparations for the past 50 years and didn't capitalize off of it. So that's what the problem is. Now you're getting stripped of the social issues. Now you got a problem? Huh? Oh, well, guess what? Now you might probably can get some reparation money freed up because since all these social issues is gone now, maybe they can get some money. A couple like $1 trillion because now we not feeding the poor and feeding the people that can go out there and get a job. So reparations already been paid. You've been living in the projects For 50 years, that's your reparations, or you could have been homeless.
$7.8 billion a month is all I needed to hear. Keep the fucking government closed. I'm cool with it. Did you know that $7.8 billion is what they spend a month on SNAP benefits? And over 70% of SNAP recipients are not even legal American citizens. So our taxpayers are going to pay for the SNAP benefits, which is making them morbidly obese, which is making them need health care, which we're paying for their free health care. And then the cycle just continues and continues and continues. No, thank you. So you want us to approve health care now, free, for illegal immigrants when over 70% of SNAP benefits are going to illegal immigrants at the rate of almost $8 billion a month. No, thank you. I stand 10 toes down. I hate the fact that the military is not getting paid. I hate the fact that government workers are not getting paid. But guess what? If we continue to allow this, they will continue to take advantage of it. Here in my home state, there are illegal immigrants going to their congressmen telling them we cannot afford to live or stay in the United States without government assistance. But I thought illegals were not getting government assistance. Isn't that what they tried to lie to us and tell us? I thought they told us that they were not receiving health care benefits. Oh, but yes, they are. And now you have them at our boards choosing or acting like they are respecting our law and the way that our system works here now all of a sudden when their benefits get cut. Yeah, no, I'm good. Keep it closed.
So over 40 million people are about to lose their SNAP benefits on November 1st due to the government shutdown. But why does this feel like a setup? Now let me slow walk you through this whole situation, starting with Walmart, because people are saying on the 1st, they're going to raid Walmart because they don't have food stamps. Now keep in mind, Walmart makes over $3 billion a year on the SNAP benefit program, which is 25% of the entire program annually. Which is pretty interesting, being that they are one of the sponsors for the No Kings protests, in which other globalists were actually funding the No Kings protests like Ford, the Rockefeller Foundation, George Soros, just to name a few. But Walmart makes over $600 billion, so $3 billion is a drop in the bucket. So who really benefits and what's really going on? I mean, not only it's about money, which it is, because Walmart lost over $20 billion over the last 5 days, which could be a great opportunity for insiders to buy a cheaper stock. But it's about power and control as well. Could it be that all these corporations, big tech, billionaires want to induce civil unrest to implement a digital ID? Because out of chaos comes order. I mean, you have Bill Gates and Larry Ellison all pushing for a digital ID, in which right now is a New World Order situation in the UK, in which their problems is based on immigration, which easily can be induced to implement a digital ID. And guess which group has 60% of their group on SNAP benefits? Immigrants. Immigrants do, and they know this, so it seems like we're being played from both sides. I mean, it would be kind of crazy. Companies like Amazon plan to lay off over 500,000 jobs over the next 5 years due to AI automation, crushing the middle class, causing civil unrest. Not to mention, UPS just cut 48,000 jobs today. So the question is all this orchestrated so we're worrying about SNAP benefits and immigration being separated, black, white, all while they're building a New World Order situation for us? Could be. All the while, we still don't have an Epstein list, which is probably a distraction on top of a distraction at this point. Make sure you guys hit up my YouTube for more info.
Food stamps gone. Section 8 gone. All your SNAP and EBT benefits gone. Now you got to go back to Tyrone. Woo! I think this is great. We have just single-handedly saved the black family. Why? Because Tasha can't run out on Tyrone anytime she get mad and think the government going to take care of her. Tasha can't leave Tyrone and think that the kids going to eat. Tasha can't leave Tyrone and think she's going to get a free rent. Tasha can't depend on the government because years ago, black women turned their back on black men for government assistance, for food stamps, for Section 8, for welfare, for WIC, for all the things that black men bring into their household. They said, no, we don't need that. I'll go file to the government and they'll give it to me. Trump said, hell no. Woo! Now you're going to have to start choosing better. Woo! Now women are going to have babies with men that actually want to have babies with them. Woo! Now women are going to have to vet their partners and not be able to just hit them up for a check every time and think they can live off the government. Woo! This shit amazing. You're going to see more wives and less baby mamas. You're going to see more two-parent households because it's going to be a family unit because success is a team sport. You're going to see women go back to their men, go back to their child's father and try to work things out and not childishly run out to the next nigga. Why? Because Donald Trump and the government don't got your back no more. Because you can't go over there and get free food stamps and sell them bitches 40 for the 80. Because you don't have a $72 rent anymore. Because now you're going to have to figure it out. And the only person that's left is that black man that you walked out on years ago. And the price of pussy going down too. Donald Trump did it with this one, and I'm here for it.
Queens, go back to your kings and work it out. Baby mamas, go back to your baby daddies and become wives. It's time for us to work together. This is actually amazing. No longer will you be incentivized by quitting on your household. No longer will you be incentivized by quitting on your marriage. No longer will you be incentivized by quitting on that black man. You are no longer incentivized to leave. So, baby, you either pay or stay.
Wow. Just wow. I just saw a video of some guy who's trying to hand down life lessons. Well, he's living on fucking food stamps and subsidized housing. And if you're watching this right now, let me ask you something. Isn't it interesting how the people who are screaming the loudest about who needs to be taxed the most, they don't even fucking work. They're not building anything. They're not employing anybody. They're not risking a goddamn thing. They sure should have a lot to say about how much you ought to be paying. Funny how that works, huh? So let me say this as clearly as I possibly can. If you don't contribute, you don't get a vote on this, bro. You don't get to sit on the sidelines collecting government checks, spending your day on Twitter talking about how we should tax the rich more when you've never written a payroll check in your goddamn life. You don't know what it's like to stay up at 2 a.m. because your lease is due on your business. You have no fucking clue. You've never put your name on a loan to fund a dream that might blow up in your face. You don't even know what that's like. You've never carried the weight of knowing that you need to make sure that 10, 20, 30 families need to eat next week, and it's all based on how you perform. You have no fucking clue. So no, you don't get to tell the guy who's grinding 80 plus hours a week that he should give more while you sit your fat, lazy ass living on your EBT card, your food stamps, your Section 8 housing, glued to your government issued smartphone, and contributing fucking nothing. You don't get to mooch off of the system and demand more from the people who are the system. It's not how it works. Because let's be honest, without the workers, without the producers, without the job creators, there is no government check for you to skate by on, bozo. That's the part that you don't seem to understand. The only reason that there's anything to tax at all is because somebody bled for it. There's no such thing as free healthcare. There's no such thing as student loan forgiveness. There's no such thing as government funded fucking anything. It is all taxpayer funded, and that's what you don't seem to get. And while people like you sit on your ass and wait for your stipend, other people are filling up the coffers, busting their ass so you can drain them dry like a bucket with a fucking hole in it. So listen, if you didn't work for your money, the least you can do is shut the fuck up and say thank you. Because the people that you're trying to tax into the ground, they're the only reason that your lights are still on.
Yep. So there you go. There's some good stuff right there. I like that. Well, brother man got it right when you um, no longer have an opportunity to live off the system, you're forced to make it work in a society that has, especially, we hear a lot of people, uh, Nick Fuentes talks about it. A lot of different people talk about this, where, Charlie Kirk talked about it all the time that that the black community has fatherless homes because it's so easy to just cut somebody loose and do it. The baby mama would just take care of the kids, and kids would be raised by the neighborhood, right? And you know, end up in prison. All those things that happen to in the fatherless home, right? So that dude was spot on about that, because when you have to really count on the other half of the parent, the father, to participate in taking care of your kid because the government's not going to anymore. You gotta be less incentivized to just live off the system, right? So I agree with that. And then the other guy talking about, I that really meant a lot to me because I've reinvented myself a few times in my lifetime. I'm older, and I've spent a lot of time figuring things out, and I've been bankrupt, and I've went through all kinds of different things to get to where I'm at today. And you know when you have to when you have to write checks for your crew, I had 25 employees at one time when I had my construction company, and you got to put your balls on the line all the time, to be successful in society. And I totally understand where he's coming from, because there'd be many times when things weren't going well, but you have to make sure that your employees get paid, you know. even if you don't get paid, you got to make sure that your employees get the check because, you know, it's one, your obligation. It's a state law in most states that you have to pay your employees on payday. You know what I mean? So I totally understand that as well. Anyway, what do you think about all this that's going on right now? I'm going to work on getting Dallas on the show, but what do you think about the? We'll just call them what they are: freeloaders. You know, people that live off the government, constantly living off the government, and literally telling you that it's your responsibility to pay taxes so that they can live. Hit me up in the comments. You know, love to interact with you in the comments. So you know, let me know what you think. I, I mean, really, let me know what you think. Let's see where am I at here? Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. Stand by. In here so I don't blow the.
This is actually an executive order designating the cartels and other organizations to be foreign terrorist organizations.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
People have wanted to do this for years. So they are now designated as terrorist organizations, foreign, and Mexico probably doesn't want that, but we have to do what's right.
Their influence reaches right up into DHS, all the way to Congress. There are so many people on the payroll. I'm told after my visit down to the border, it's frightening.
American officials on the payroll of Mexican drug cartels.
Yeah.
This is what they hope the public never figures out. This is the real evil that Trump has shut down. That's real. And that's a win. And we should take the good things Trump is able to do and celebrate those. And when he goes the wrong direction, put pressure on him, he's going to go back the right way. I'm not black pilled. I'm not white pilled. I'm victory pilled. I'm reality pilled. I'm engaged.
My organization, ODNI, our national counterterrorism team, we're playing an integral role in this and establishing for the first time a national intelligence fusion cell. Why this matters is because it allows us to take the intelligence that we're collecting, foreign intelligence. It allows us to work with our federal, state, and local law enforcement, those who have their boots on the ground on the front lines of this operation, to make sure that we're getting real-time intelligence and information going.
How do you know that your partners in Mexico are truly partners when we know that Claudia Sheinbaum, for example, is an ally of Nicolas Maduro? It's every action she's done in the last few months proves that.
It's a legitimate question, of course. This is something where we're looking at how we can vet as much as possible, both with the information that we have available, but also through the relationship building that is going on at the lowest level.
Much to the chagrin of a whole abhorrent industry of child trafficking that prospered from the open border policies of the Biden administration for 4 years, 2021, 22, 23, and 24. Much to the chagrin of these people that made bank, man. We're coming after them. And this executive branch is building criminal files. So I hope they're watching, and I hope they're frightened, and I hope they're getting their affairs in order, hiring their liberal attorneys to defend them, starting to shuffle their money around. We'll find it.
A cartel banner was discovered in Los Cabos, Baja California Sur, reportedly signed by La Chapitza, a fraction of the Sinaloa cartel linked to Los Chapos. The message, which was quickly removed by the authorities, contained direct threats aimed to U.S. officials and American citizens residing in the area. According to preliminary information, the banner specifically named FBI Director Kash Patel, the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, and Mexico's security chief, Omar Garcia Harfuch. The text warned of a wave of violence against American tourists in retaliation for the seizure of several illicit shipments in recent days. The message further stated that every American citizen who resides in Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, it is being targeted, declaring, "We are the ones who call the shots, and we are the ones in charge." Authorities removed the banner swiftly to prevent widespread panic among the local community and the large American population living in Los Cabos. If it is confirmed, this will be the mark of the first publicly posted cartel threat against FBI Director Kash Patel on Mexican soil by the organized crime of the cartel.
The arrest of a Sinaloa cartel boss, El Plato, another dangerous Sinaloa cartel member responsible for tracking a huge amounts of cocaine. The arrest of a CJNG cartel-affiliated baby trafficker called La Diabla. Her whole money-making operation was centered around luring pregnant women, performing illegal C-sections, harvesting organs, and selling newborn babies.
And they'd be handing Hispanic babies to Eastern European men, African black men who couldn't even speak English. And it turned out, of course, upwards 80% were not their families, weren't even their same culture. And yeah, this is CIA contractors smuggling kids. I mean, look at this little girl. My God.
Feel the unstoppable power of Alex Jones. Fuel.
All right. So what do you think of that? We got the cartels, we have the money laundering, the id movement of people, kids, all this stuff going on. What do you think? You think that this is all? I personally, when I look at that clip, when I look at that whole report from John Bound, all that stuff goes together. Everything that we talk about, I think, is intertwined. I think that the illegals, I think that the protests, all of it kind of goes together. It's all in an attempt to cripple the United States, and it's as conspiracy theorial that sounds. It's just the truth. It's just how it is. I mean, everything that's going on right now is part of the Podesta plan, and I played that report over and over and over, and we may get to it later if we have time. But every little piece of this goes to this puzzle that the globalists have put in our way, and it's an attempt to take Trump's cabinet out and take us down. All the things that they do to all the patriots. Everything is all it goes together. I mean, look at Charlie Kirk's murder. We've played the clips and we've dissected it. I don't know. I haven't got to the bottom of who shot Charlie Kirk yet, but I can tell you one thing for sure. Absolutely, without a doubt, it was not a 30-06. No way in hell, not even close. You could shoot somebody, and I played the a couple different um, people that have done the long range shots in different types of material. Um, uh, we've done the like the investigative work on that, and if Charlie got shot from 130, anywhere from between 100 and 350, 400 feet by 30-06, it'd blow his head off. Like it'd go in and come out the other end, and there'd be nothing left. I mean, we've seen it. I've showed you. I've showed the clips over and over and over on here, and we haven't got to the bottom of it. We're going to get into some of that here in just a second. But when you think about it, they're just giving you a line of bullshit, you know, in every direction. Everything that they do. And I thought Cash was going to be this badass, get shit done, and I thought that Bongino was going to be this, get shit done, be completely transparent. In the truth, they haven't done that. They have not done that. And I don't know if it's the white coat long game or if this is just their hands are tied. They can't get past the censorship of the FBI because that everybody's controlled everywhere, everything, and every angle is controlled by somebody. all the way. The president, everybody's got people that are controlling them in some way. And I want to think that Trump is authentic and that he's doing the best he can in all these areas. And I get that he's got a large job from a position of look what we had 4 years of Joe Biden, Mayorkas. I get it. I totally understand that, but um, like, and I know that we've had a few indictments at least. We've had a few arraignments. We've had a few. Nobody's really got perp walked or anything like that. So I'm holding my reservations tight. But I got to tell you, with the Charlie Kirk thing, the Epstein's files, all these different things going on, what they've done to Alex Jones, what they've done to Bannon, and what they've done to General Flynn, just to speak on a few. How about all the people that were put in prison for years for a fraudulent January 6th that was not what they said it was, and how the Democrats set all those people up and are continuing to do that kind of stuff. And we have an election next week, and they have the government shut down. Who do you think is going to win on that one? Who do you think is going to come out on the upper end from a government shutdown in a midterm election? Oh, let me know in the comments. I think eyes are burning tonight. Uh, I don't know if this is going to hurt the Democrats or help them. I mean, the Democrats are on life support right now. Do you think the Republicans are going to benefit? I mean, I know one thing: all the Republicans voted for that bill, and I think there was like two Democrats that voted for the bill, but they needed a total of six, so they've been short, and they voted like 13 times. So Democrats in pretty bad shape. I believe that. But what do you think's going to happen in the next week? You think they're going to just keep burning shit down? You think that they're going to wait until they've looted all the stores and done all that stuff? How bad is it out there? I don't know. I haven't looked into that section of what we're doing. I haven't like I've seen some stuff, but there was more stuff on ice raids and all that stuff than there was about people stealing from stores. But it's only been one day, so we'll see what happens. Or what's happening right now while we're on this show right now. I have no idea. I mean, I guess I should probably take a look and see where we're at, and see if they're robbing and stealing and looting and doing all that stuff, because they said they're going to. I'm sure they are. I'm sure that's what's going on. But again, if I had a producer or an editor or somebody in here helping me, I would be able to do two things at once. But being here, my producer hasn't been here in a couple months because he's had complications with his kid. He just had a kid, and there's a bunch of complications. So I've kind of lost him. I really need somebody, and I'm going to keep looking for the right person that can help me. I want to show you something. This is why I'm concerned. I just don't pick just anybody. Now, I think I'm a nobody. I'm just a podcaster or a show host or I guess slash journalist or whatever you want to call it, right? But when we started doing all this stuff with the Google Trends, I looked myself up. My podcast name, my other names. I got a few names, John Webb, all this stuff. And in all the cases, on all of them, on every one of them, this is what came up: Israel, 100%. Israel, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. I don't know really what that entails. I just don't. So when I'm talking about I need help, I need an editor or a producer or people to help me with my social media footprint or whatever, then I see something like this and I'm like a nobody. I don't even have a million followers, but I got Israel looking at Spectre Web podcast. Slightly interesting. I don't say I have some other ones, but I mean that part doesn't really matter as much as the fact that that's there. Looked up John Webb. I looked up Spectre Webb. I looked up um, yeah, it's just I guess it doesn't really matter. This is the point that I was looking at though. You see that shit? Like why am I being looked up? I'm gonna get into this now though. So, yeah. So what do you know about Charlie Kirk assassination? What do we know right now? What do we really know? Well, we know that wasn't shot with a 30-06. We know that. We nailed that down. We definitely figured that out. That's um, we know that he was most likely shot from the back, from the right back hairline area. That's what we figured out. The most obvious, and it came out the front. That out. That's spot on. We've seen some theories, quite a few theories. I haven't brought them up because I was just theories, and I want to make sure that when I say what I think is legit. Let's get into this. Um, Couple things that are very interesting. I'm thinking about how I want to do this because I want to be careful how I present this because I want to that what I'm presenting is factual. I don't want to be talking outside of my neck. I want to make sure that what I do is 100% without question. Okay? Because the comments go crazy. So say something and it might not be 100% accurate or whatever. They just attack you like a fucking like chihuahuas. So start right here. We're gonna start with um, got these new people running the Charlie Kirk show, and I wasn't a big. I mean, Charlie Kirk was great, good enough, and all that stuff. I didn't really spend when you watch Infowars and a show like Infowars or whatever. Those other shows are too slow. They're like way behind. They're like months behind. And I want the news. I want tomorrow's news. I don't want last month's news. So no, it's not personal with TPUSA or the Charlie Kirk show or whatever. But slow compared to the news feed that I'm looking for. I'm looking for like Bannon got slow for me because I'm getting stuff that Bannon's going to talk about in a month. Yeah, I'm getting tomorrow's news today on InfoWars. But let's just for the sake of what we're doing here, let's start right here. We got a couple. If you question the narrative, right? We've seen this over and over and over. Now I don't know how this goes. I haven't figured out how this is okay. Like, make sure check my mic, and I probably should, but it shows that it's working. But we're just going to check it just for the sake of what we're doing. We're just going to check sound real quick. So, yeah, we're good. So you have these people at TPUSA or whatever, Charlie Kirk show, the Erica Kirk show, whatever it's called, saying that they believe that Tyler Robinson is the shooter and that whole narrative is perfect. So is Don Jr., by the way, a hunter that knows that if you shoot an object, I mean, you shoot a half-inch metal from 150 yards, it goes right through it. Just to be clear. Just to be clear, 30-06 is a very big fucking round. Very big. Right? 150 yards, it's like, like it's just like right there. It's not like a long distance. Talking about 30-06 at 1,000 yards. Might be talking about something. But at 150 yards, 140 yards, I think 144 yards, whatever it was. 30-06. It's not a thing. If it was a flesh wound, it would go in and come out, possibly like the way it came out. If it was clean, didn't hit nothing, just went straight through, like went through didn't go through none of the bone, didn't hit nothing because as soon as it hit, oh, okay. But this is what they're saying about all this conspiracy theorists, if you will. Saying, I have a couple. They kind of overlap, but check it out. Stand by.
So what type of individual? Just to create content, do we think, or is there some? What's the ulterior?
I don't know. I think a lot of this mindset just sort of fuels itself. It's sort of addictive in the same way a lot of social media stuff is addictive, or in the way like honestly something like pornography is addictive or something. Like they get really they almost get a high off of like the idea of like that they're doing something that's daring or out there.
So what type of individual?
That's a very bad recording.
We got to do a little addressing of a video that went viral this weekend, and it's a video of Charlie's chief of staff. We made the decision that we wanted to address this head on because, candidly, there's so much intrigue, and I'm gonna do a generous thing. The intrigue is because people care about Charlie. Okay, so that part I understand.
You're more generous than I'd be.
Yes, and that's fine. And I am going to give you the the floor here now, Blake, because you were there and you actually interacted with Mikey. You were with Mikey. You left the scene and then connected with Mikey. So explain what the video is.
All right,
Set the
I'm not going
set the scene.
to. I'm not going to wallow in it at length, but people have. It's gone viral, and people have asked us to address it, and we're going to do so briefly. The video, without going way into it, is by, I can't even remember the guy's name. Someone made a video that is attacking Mikey, Charlie's friend, Charlie's chief of staff, a guy all of us know, a guy who we've seen on the show here the last few weeks. They are attacking him, claiming, based on a few seconds of clips, that he allegedly has like a nonchalant or calm reaction to Charlie's murder. And I'm just going to be blunt about this. This is a extremely disgusting attack. And I can speak to that because I was there when it happened and I was next to Mikey when it happened. And what I can say is, I can't say every single thing that happened, but I want to talk about this specific narrow thing, that the shooting occurs. I am next to Mikey. Both of us hear a loud crack. We both turn. We both see Charlie, who has been shot. Both of us, I think at about the same time, realize that that means there is a shooter who is on the scene. And, you just hear the crack, so you don't know, did it come from far away? Did it come from close? Is there a mass shooter unfolding right now? So I and him both had the reaction of, let's get out of here before we were both shot. That is not us abandoning Charlie. Charlie had a security team. They all leapt immediately into action, and they got Charlie out of there, which was what their job was to do. My job was not to get in the way and screw this up because I had to be a hero. That was not my job. I remember even running past, both of us going past the SUV that we came in on, and me thinking, should I get in that car? And then thinking, no, that's a really stupid thing to do. And then I kept going. So I was not with Mikey, or I don't remember being with him. I think I was ahead of him as we left. And then we get out and I run for, can't have been more than 15 or 20 seconds. And then I realized there hasn't been another shot. So the shooter has likely been detained or stopped or something, not in immediate danger. I pause, I look around me, and I see Mikey. And I see Mikey there. And truthfully, I will never forget what I saw, because I've seen Mikey almost every day for the past 2 years. I know his personality very well. He's a very bubbly guy. He's a very happy guy almost all of the time. And I'll never forget what I saw, because it was clear in the moment that he was profoundly freaked out. What I'll always remember is the way his lip was quivering, which I'd never seen before. And you very rarely see from someone that he was freaking out. And then I think he literally said to me, I might be imagining this, but I think what he literally said was, he was looking around, and then he says, I need to call Erica. And then he takes his phone and he begins calling Erica. And I don't want to disclose how that call unfolded, but he did that. Your mind extends all of this, but that is happening within a minute of all of this occurring. I remember he calls Erica. Around the same time, I pull out my phone and I call my mom just to say, Mom, there's been a shooting. You're going to see it on the news. I'm okay. Pray for me. I've got to go. And I remember that call. And around the time I put that phone away, and then he immediately calls his dad. He calls Rob McCoy, and he says, Dad, someone shot Charlie. You need to call all of your pastor friends. Charlie was hit. We need everyone to pray right now. And that's what he told him. And I guess it's very disgusting for me as someone who witnessed this, who saw Mikey hugely distressed and then step up in the moment, because after that call was over, I saw Mikey get total mastery of himself, that he realized he had to step up in this situation. And from that point, he was like a general directing a battle, where he was, grabbing people and saying, okay, we need to get to the hospital and we need to do these things. And you guys need to wait here. I need to get in here to get information so that I can get it to Erica. And when we learned he was dead, he came out and he told us, and then he says, now none of you can say anything that you've heard, because Erica is not going to hear about this from anyone except me.
Can I ask a question? I've just been thrown into this 10 minutes ago, but there's a suggestion online that Mikey, Charlie's chief of staff, one of the most sincere people you'd ever meet, brilliant, Christian, kind, everyone he ever met in his entire life, couldn't hurt a fly, was part of a conspiracy to murder Charlie. That's what's going on.
It's vile. It's utterly vile.
Who would
and,
do this?
Like,
what type of individual? Just to create content? Do we think, or is there some? What's the ulterior?
I don't know. I think.
Hold on now. I'm going to pull this up real quick here. Hold on. Let me pull it in. We're going to look at this. Let me get the right one here. Just a second. All right, I think I got it here. Let me make sure that I got the right one. Hold on, right here, okay. All right, so they're saying that Mikey was, this heroic thing, whatever, you heard what they said. Now, the thing is, Mikey, when Charlie shot, takes off. He takes off and he goes. He's on the phone or whatever right there. So I'm going to show you this, and you be the judge of what it is, and then we'll come back to it. I started this video right before the shot. Right. So here he is. Mikey's right over here. Watch. Mikey's right there. Okay, there he is. Thought there was sound to this. Doesn't sound like there's sound to this one, so I'm just going to narrate over the top of it. They're showing this up close. Here he is, right there. Mikey's right here behind the cameraman, right in this area right here with his phone. That's him right there. Mikey's still phone in hand. Hunter Kozak talking to Charlie. Charlie's about to be killed. Mikey is still standing there. He's right there. Right there. Charlie gets hit. Right there. Mikey's right here. Walks away behind the tent. Right there. He takes off and he's over here now. He's right here. Charlie hasn't even hit the ground yet. And he's all the way over here walking. Not running, not in panic. Security goes over, to get Charlie. Mikey takes off. Now Mikey's way over here. They're putting Charlie in the van right here, or the SUV, and Mikey's way over here. And that's the question. They're questioning this. He's, Charlie's chief of staff. Yep. So that's what I wanted to show you. Let me get my screen back in here. Now, that's one thing. There's so many things that we're going to talk about here. That's one little thing. Mikey McCoy thing is very interesting. If you're with Charlie all day long, and then he's standing over in the in the backside of the tent. I didn't even know if he's seen Charlie get shot. But he's, you know, I guess let's assume that he did, and he turned around, walked away. Let's just give grace where grace is due. And then they're literally putting Charlie in the SUV, and Mikey's way off over there on the phone. I'm assuming he's talking to his dad, or he's talking to Erica, he's talking to whoever, whatever. Then they come on, they make this big old thing about, oh, how he was this hero, he was super heroic, and how he was, directing traffic and all that stuff. He wasn't even nowhere near. He took off walking down the thing. He was nowhere near where everybody was at during. These are the holes that are in it. That doesn't make sense. It makes no sense at all. I'm confused on how like first you hear a shot ring out. Do you get down? Do you run? Do you go to help Charlie? Do you at least duck? No. You start walking casually away with your phone up to your ear, and you just start walking. And all that thing about, oh, his lip was quivering, he wasn't nowhere around. No, who could see Mikey when he's 50 yards away from everybody? Everybody's in a panic. They don't know if there's more shooting going on or whatever. And Mikey's just off over there on the phone. No problem. I don't know if he came back, turned around and came back. I don't know. I don't know that. Let's get into this other part. So Candace is, talking to this whistleblower, and the whistleblower says, hey, there was this plane, or these planes that were, these Egyptian military doing a special operation on the same day. There's a couple, 2 or 3 planes in the area. There's one that came down to 300 feet, all this stuff. And then they're talking about these drones. They got these, let me pull this up. This is where I'm going to use, we're going to get into this real quick. I hope I have time to go over this stuff right here, but right now let's just stick to what I'm doing here. Okay. Stand by. Pull this up here. I'm looking for something specific here. Give me a second. Let me find it. All right. So these Egyptian planes, we're just going to play this video right here. I have 2 of them. We'll play them both one at a time. Candace is talking about first. Ryan Matt is talking about it. Some of these overlap, but I want you to get the full picture of what I'm doing here. So let's start here.
4 weeks ago, an Egyptian Gulf Stream, meaning not like Egyptian cotton, like Egyptian government. So this aircraft belongs to the Egyptian government. It is a Gulfstream 4SP, registration SUBND, and it's in Provo, Utah?
Never been to Provo except for one time. Egyptian government. Texas. We're just doing this little bit of work here, just looking at it.
I didn't know it, but I knew it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I know it.
You got
there
to
were some
catch this here.
Egyptian military men that were on the ground on September 10th in Utah on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And we now need to demand that they publicly release details of who those individuals were and why they were there. The biggest anomaly that has happened is this kind of foreign angle. Like right away, they just got out in front of it and were like, there's nothing to see here. And we discovered, and I broke the story, that there was actually a third plane, which I found to be quite odd. I reported on it, and the Zionists immediately seemed, to me, too panicked, right? They issued what I describe as a false debunking regarding the point that I was making. What they do in circumstances like that is when you say something that's really big, they focus on something really small and inconsequential, like an error that you made. And I did make in terms of time zones. And they go, oh, well, this has been debunked, right? It's been completely debunked. You saw this in the Brigitte case. She started going after people for defamation, not people that wasn't attacking them for the substance of the claim that you were born male, because she was, but rather she goes off after them, like she's going after me for saying, oh, well, actually, you're saying that I stole my sister's ID and that's a crime. So I'm going to sue you for that. And then the media runs with it and says, oh, this has been debunked. Nothing is being debunked. And when they do that, when they focus on that, you know they're hiding something. Okay. I can now report to you that it is a fact that on 9/4, there were, this was not some dropping by in Utah as they were trying to claim because the plane needed to be serviced. That's what they ran with. They ran with, this could have been a routine servicing. I guess there's just no place from Egypt all the way to Utah that an Egyptian military plane can like get a tire changed. This is totally routine. Nothing to see here. Well, I'm telling you that for a fact, that plane was carrying military subcontractors. And for a fact, they were dropped off in Provo, okay? And that they did not make it back to Cairo. I showed you the plane left. They left on September 10th. It then laid over in Wilmington, Delaware, and departed back for Cairo on the 11th. I am telling you that when that plane left, okay, those people were mysteriously missing from that plane, okay? What's going on here? Why are Egyptian military subcontractors, what are Egyptian military subcontractors doing in the middle of Provo, Utah on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated? Okay. Again, I am saying as a fact, Kash Patel, please feel free to dispute this. In fact, I almost demand that you dispute it. I think you must. You've been saying everybody's a conspiracy theorist. These conspiracies are dangerous. Thinking is dangerous. That aircraft was not in Utah for any routine servicing, okay? Rather extraordinarily, this person told me that it was there on some discreet mission. So discreet that this individual was scared for their life to present this information, but felt compelled to present it because they too were horrified, like the rest of the world. Again, the mistake that was made here was executing him publicly. People felt something, right? They felt something. They understood whatever happened here was a tremendous act of evil. And so what it led to was goodness, more people standing up and doing something brave and saying, we need to root out this evil from our society. What were they doing there? When did they leave? Who are these individuals? I don't understand. Kash Patel, tell us about this flight. Tell us who was on it, okay?
All right, so one more here, and then we're going to get into the topic here. Check this out.
Counting or not counting gang violence.
Pay close attention.
Oh my God. Go, run.
Drone over the corner, two of them. Okay, so showing you that because I want to show you this. This is what I was looking for in my stack. Couldn't find it. U.S. Army to test launching drones from aircraft. Okay, Now, putting this piece together here for you, so maybe you can get an idea of what I'm getting at here. Because I think it's important that we understand this part of this, because maybe, just maybe, and it might be a far stretch, but where's the one I'm looking for? Right here. Check it out.
What the heck is going on here? Why is APAC in Taiwan?
Taiwan is well versed in advanced chip manufacturing and is very willing to enhance cooperation with Israel.
Now, my reaction to that is I thought, or we were told, that APAC is an American lobbying group, lobbying on behalf of American interests. But it seems like what they're doing over there is lobbying for the interests of Israel in a foreign country.
Right.
To quote Tucker Carlson, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. What is that?
They're also talking about all this, oh, Israel has the best technology and all this good gear, but do you really want that gear?
Just walkie-talkies. Do you know how many treated equipment do we have in these countries?
You mean booby-trapped equipment?
Not only booby-trapped,
And spying?
manipulated equipment. All right?
In which countries are you talking about?
All the countries that you can imagine.
So it's not just pagers. He's saying,
Right.
no, it's not limited to pagers. It's whatever thing that we've made, that we've built some chip for or whatever, it could all be remotely activated.
Makes me think about that clip of Bibi Netanyahu saying, "You all have cell phones in America. That's a part of Israel."
Do you have cell phones? You have cell phones here? No. You're holding a piece of Israel right there.
Like, is there a hidden message there?
And so that's what I'm saying. A warning to all those Asian countries, Taiwan, South Korea. You should really be careful about getting into an alliance with Israel.
Okay. So the reason why I showed you that was not for the fact that Bibi Netanyahu is threatening them and doing that thing, but the pager, because there's been a lot of different, excuse me, there's been a lot of different messages going on here. Hidden messages. I know you've seen them. If you've watched my channel, I've shown you different things. Lapel mic was one of the theories, right? That he was shot with a lapel mic. That was one. Well, that fits in with the pager thing, right? But then what about if I told you that there was drones there on site? There was a plane that dropped to 300 feet. I want that to sink in. There's a plane 2 times dropped down to 300 feet and then flew back up and went on to its destination. And it came in twice. The first time it went by Provo, it did that. It dropped down to 500 feet. And then when it came back from Montana, maybe it was Montana or something like that. When it came back the second time, it dropped down to 300 feet. And you have these Egyptian military plane. We have, I think we're onto something here. I really do. I really think that we're onto something here, because this is why. The plane goes down to 300 feet, releases the drone. It's just a theory. I'm just giving a theory. It could be completely off, but I'm just giving you a theory. Drops down to 300 feet. They did find drone. I just showed you the picture of the drone that was on site. I think it was 2 of them. I showed you the flight logs where the plane was there and it dropped down low and all that stuff. These are all just theories, but when we start, honing in on what it could possibly be, because there's all kinds of things. They're saying that the guy behind to the Charlie's right-hand side took the shot. There's all these theories, all these different theories about, about, what's it called? Um, like, a switch. You know what I mean, trigger switch, and all this. All these theories going on. I do have that. I guess I could play it. See which one is it. I wasn't gonna play it, but I might as well since I'm here. There's a couple of them that are. I played this guy, played that guy. Where's the one I'm looking for though? Hold on a second. Let me get the right one here. There's a couple of them there. I want to make sure that I give you the right one. I don't want to give you the wrong one, obviously. Let me see here. Stand by. Oh, this is a breakdown of the shots and where they possibly came from. Let's play this, and I'll start and stop it a little bit. And this is from the shot and the necklace and how it broke off of his neck and all that stuff. And this is a pretty good. There's a really good explanation. It's a little bit long. So let's just take a look at this because it is important that we put all this together. Whether it was a shot from a drone, a person behind him, I don't know the theories. What I do know is there was that Egyptian fighter pilot or fighters, military there. I don't know why that whole thing happened like that and why it was, it's so hush hush and when, you start talking about it, they kind of get kind of weird about stuff. Let's just play this for a minute here. Let me see where am I at. Let's see. Let me cue it up real quick so we're not doing the whole thing. Let's see. Sorry guys, hold on. Just want to pull up the right stuff. I don't want to pull the wrong thing up here. Okay, we'll play. Yeah, what do you think of that? Anyway, what do you think of that? There's a bunch of theories jumping around right now. I don't know. I understand the high velocity and causing the shirt to do that thing. I totally understand that. I don't know if he shot from the front, the back, the top, the bottom. I don't know. But I know that neck wound is an out. That's a exit wound. There's no way that a round, because when a round goes in, it'll go in, and when it goes in, it gets closed up behind them. So imagine sticking your finger in something, the skin will close up behind it, and then the out from the percussion of it coming out is where it opens up because it's pulling it through the body. And that's the theory is that's an exit wound. I've talked to too many people, hunters, military, Green Berets, all these different, Navy SEALs. I've talked to them all, and they're like, that's an exit wound. That's not an entry wound. It's not an entry wound. There's no way for, the only way that could be an entry wound is if it's tumbling when it hits them, right? Because if you look at it, it's wide, it's big. It's not one little dot. It's like, because when a round or a piece of lead or copper or whatever it goes in, and then it comes out big. It's, you ask any ballistics expert, they're going to tell you the same thing. So that's my theory on that. Sorry for the graphics. Hopefully I don't get hit on YouTube for that, because YouTube, they'll let 15 people get away with it, and then one conspiracy theorist don't get away with nothing. So where is that video that I wanted? Where is that video? Where is it? Let me play this video real quick. While I play this video, I'm gonna look up, find this video. I'm looking for a video that I had queued up. I can't seem to find it right now because it's a little bit clustered. So let's see which one I want to go with. Let's do this one right here. Stand by.
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit.
Schumer and company continue to conflate, obfuscate, and outright deny the brutal impact the healthcare handouts to illegal aliens has had on the American people, now utilizing their socialist EBT voting base as leverage in a game of sociopathic chicken.
The greatest hunger crisis since the Great Depression, when 42 million people lose their SNAP benefits this weekend. What are these Democrats waiting for? This is not a game. This is not leverage. They're taking food off the table for families, for babies. It's disgusting. It's time to end the madness.
But the simple numbers don't lie. Illegal immigrants accounted for $23 billion in federal medical expenditures annually, while American citizens waited in ER purgatory for basic care with little to no insurance. A 2024 FAIR study using CMS and census data pegs the yearly cost of Medicaid, CHIP, and emergency room write-offs for 15.4 million illegal immigrants at roughly $9,000 per head, tied to a broader 150 billion net fiscal burden from illegal immigration since 2021. Meanwhile, 27.1 million U.S. citizens remain uninsured, and 44% of working age adults skip needed medical care because of cost. California's Medi-Cal expansion to 700,000 undocumented adults cost $4 billion in 2024. That was more than the state's $3.8 billion prison health care budget. Meanwhile, 1.4 million Californians lost coverage during the redetermination process through early 2024.
Think of it. They want to give away $1.5 trillion to people that come into the country illegally. And as you know, the borders now are closed. But when they hear that they get the greatest health care package in the world and they have no money, but they're living okay in another country, they head up and they start forming caravans and they try and come into our country. But the big problem is they want to give health care to people that should not get health care. They want to give health care to illegal immigrants by the millions. Look at Gavin Newsom, what he's done. He's ruined California. He gives health care to anybody.
New York City's public hospitals managed $1.47 billion in migrant expenditures in fiscal year 2023.
And so here in Illinois, we are now adding thousands a month as you have unhealthy and sick, undocumented citizens from around the country, from frankly around the world, that are coming to Illinois because of the fact we are the only state that covers these individuals for total health care. And so this is something that is really creating a significant problem for our budget.
Meanwhile, wait times for U.S. veterans at VA facilities average 22 days for primary care, still too long amid a surge in demand. Congress allocated $16 billion in disproportionate share hospital payments to safety net systems where illegals could receive care, while the 46 million Americans in rural populations continue to clamor for health care that never comes. The blood money trail leads straight to the marble halls of power. Cerberus Capital, Apollo Global, and GTCR have turned the migrant healthcare crisis into a billion-dollar extraction machine, siphoning $300 million a year from ICE detention contracts alone. These vultures dumped $4.41 million into DC lobbying in 2025 alone, 40% to Democrats to keep the bipartisan spigot open, ensuring every illegal alien ER dump-off is a taxpayer-funded jackpot. The infrastructure? A permanent profit pipeline from the border to the boardroom. Your dialysis denied, their dividends delivered. Don't look now. Your health care has been hijacked in broad daylight. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
So that's what the shutdown's about, by the way. If you didn't know, the whole idea that the Democrats have is they want medical for illegals. And so what they've done is they want billions of dollars in medical benefits for illegal aliens and transgender surgery in order to turn the government back on. That's what we're fighting right now. They want you to pay for illegals to have medical in the United States. That's it. That's what it's about. That's what the whole thing's about. I mean, there's some other pork barrel things that they have in there too, but that's the main ingredient is health care for illegal aliens. Okay? Don't take my word for it. Listen to what Chucky Schumer's talking about. This is the only time that we're going to have leverage. They're using leverage on the backs of the low class people, or the poverty stricken people that depend on the SNAP benefits and the government assistance. They're using that in order to get their way in the House. And now I say that before I play this this clip of Obama talking about how you should never do that. Use financial blackmail or whatever it is. Let's watch Obama here. Hold on a second. Let me get queued back up here. And yeah, bye.
If Republicans do not like the law, they can go through the regular channels and processes to try to change it. That's why we have elections. So they can go through the normal processes and procedures of a democracy, but you do not threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America. Shutting down the government just because you don't like a law that was passed, I have to say, no Congress before this one has ever in history been irresponsible enough to threaten an economic shutdown, to suggest America not pay its bills, just to try to blackmail a president into giving them some concessions. I will not negotiate on anything when it comes to the full faith and credit of the United States of America. We're not going to submit to this kind of total irresponsibility. Congress needs to pay our bills on time. Congress needs to pass a budget on time. Congress needs to put an end to governing from crisis to crisis.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
So earlier today, we got some information that said that things are so bad in Washington, D.C., that Democrat leaders aren't talking to anybody. They're not talking to their caucus. They're not talking to Republicans. They're not talking to anybody. And I think now we know why. I'm going to show you 2 clips. The first one is going to help you understand what they're terrified of. And the second one is going to help you understand why they're not budging and why they fully intend on seeing SNAP benefits completely eliminated, at least for the month of November. They need people in the streets.
A friend just said she'd be happy if I died.
So listen up, Democratic establishment. You can either jump on board with this shit, or we're coming after you in the same way that we come after MAGA. Period.
There you go. That is one of the biggest podcasters on the radical left that exists today, a woman by the name of Jennifer Welch. And her show, her opinions are disgusting. And there you have it. She is threatening the Democrats that unless they get on board with the attitude that it is okay to assassinate your political opponents, they're coming after them next. The other piece of this that you have to understand is that the Democrats have no intention on moving at all on the government shutdown until they get enough people that are hungry and angry and are willing to get into the streets. You see, a few weeks ago, when the No Kings protest failed so spectacularly to get the numbers and the diversity that they needed into the streets to justify the $300 million that they spent, it sucked so much oxygen out of the room that most people weren't paying attention to the fact that there's another set of protests scheduled to start on November 5th, this time by an organization called Refuse Fascism, that was started by a guy that considers himself a revolutionary communist. And we have some leaked audio from a planning session to help you understand exactly what they're planning starting November 5th and why they need people so riled up and angry to get there.
This seems to be what happens right now, organizing millions of people to get to Washington, D.C., stand and surround the White House, surround the Capitol building, surround the illegitimate fascist Supreme Court, and not stop until the Trump regime is driven from power. We start on the 5th, we go to the 6th, we go to the 7th, we go to the 8th, we keep pushing every day, building and growing our numbers until masses of people are standing around the White House, around the Capitol building, around this fascist Supreme Court until we drive the Trump fascist regime from power.
They have planned an event to start on the 1-year anniversary of Donald Trump's reelection, and they think that if they allow this government shutdown to continue, enough people will be so upset and hungry that they'll join them in surrounding the White House, the Capitol, and the Supreme Court until they force the Trump administration to leave. This, folks, is an actual insurrection. This, folks, is an actual sedition. Folks, this is what the beginning of a violent revolution looks like.
Yeah, so that is nutshell. That's what it looks like, by the way. So, Obama talking about how you shouldn't use your leverage to shut down the government, but yet they have, and they continue to shut the government down. And then now we know why they're doing that, because their whole idea is they think that if they get enough people pissed off and irate and start an insurrection, that it'll force Trump and his cabinet to leave office. Now, how that makes no sense, but remember, the Democrats don't give a shit about you. They don't care about me, you, or anybody. They only care about their power, being in power, and they don't have any power right now. So they're going to keep doing this stuff until they get back in power. And I guess they think that they're going to, win something. I don't see how they're going to win anything, because American people are caught on to their bullshit. That's just the way it is. The American people know now that this whole thing that's going on with this shutdown and everything is about the Democrats. It's just clear as day, because all the Republicans voted to open sign the bill, and again, the Democrats didn't. There was I think 2 Democrats that went with it, and they needed a total of 60. Now I think they had 52 or 54 or something like that. So when you're at Thanksgiving with your family that are liberal or Democrats or whatever they are, you can tell them, hey, they were at the table over and over and over to get this bill to pass so they can keep the government open, but you guys are the reason why it's closed. And you can show them a clip, this is why. So okay, stand by. Oh, come on.
In 3 years, when we look back, we're going to say, yeah, the day they shot Charlie, that was the beginning of the Civil War. They showed us who they were that day. That was it. That's when they took their masks off and they said, yeah, we will celebrate the death of anyone on the right, because that's what they are looking for right now. They know they can't argue anything from a place of facts or logic or hey, these are good ideas. So now they're going with violence. Every day it's escalating more and more. And you're like, oh, but there hasn't been violence. They've been trying to kill ICE agents and federal officers. There are attacks on them, fucking shooting them, ramming them with cars. Don Lemon's calling for more violence, telling people to arm themselves. You've got state AGs that are saying they want their Republican opponent dead and his whole family, and then even repeatedly calls for the death of his kids and calls them little fascists. You get it? That's what they're doing. They're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. They can't win on ideas. The the polls are already showing that the midterms, the left is going to be destroyed. You got the left and the deep state. The deep state's freaking out. Trump's fucking pulling on their nuts. He fucking got John Bolton. Espionage, motherfucker. That's Rosenbergs were executed for espionage. We should go that fucking hard. People, this is just going to be it. They're going to keep needling at Trump. They want him to fucking declare the Insurrection Act. They're telling you what they're going to do. They're following that movie Civil War. Gavin Newsom was already on fucking Colbert, showed you the map like it was from the movie Civil War. This is the Western Alliance. He had his little blue states all fucking painted on both the coasts. You got the Podesta plan. Alex Jones been yelling about that shit for a year, dude, saying that they are going to fucking just poke and poke, cause civil unrest, to force a reaction out of the fucking federal government, out of Trump, and then divulge that into some kind of fucking race-based civil war with the secession of the blue states called the Western Alliance, the fucking East and West Coast, dude, New York and California, and that whole deal. They're just gonna keep poking. They're gonna keep poking, and how do you not react? How do you not react? Maybe Trump needs to send more than 400 or 700 troops. Kennedy sent 31,000 actual troops. Not some National Guard, not some weekend warriors. 31,000 troops to Mississippi when he had to enforce federal law for the Civil Rights Act, right? Trump's only sent not even 2,200 total? 2,200 is not going to do it. I don't know what to do. I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I know that they're telling us all. They're not going to stop the violence. They're only going to keep pushing it. So that's what you all just need. Everybody just needs to stay safe. Stay safe. Don't react. Protect. Defend. No offense. Right? Does that make sense? Defend. Be prepared to defend you and your fellow American from these fucking radical communist fucking corrupt pedo motherfuckers. Prepare yourselves. Be prepared for what they're going to throw at us. We'll be fine, and we'll see you on the other side. Good luck. Good night. Longer.
All right, so I didn't tell you about the QR code in the top right corner of the screen. If you go on that, if you click that right there, it goes to my Patriot Supply. That takes you to my channel or to my website where you can order a grid doctor, or you can get 3 months supply of restorable food, good for 25 years, and any other thing that you want. And if there's something on that website that you like, that you want, I can get you a 40% discount. Just let me know, in the comments, just hit me up and, in my DM or whatever, and say, hey, I want this thing. So I get a super good deal. And they have Black Friday coming up here. And so I will be putting that at the bottom of this when the deals that they have currently right now. There's some super really good deals coming out in the next day or so for Black Friday. So I'll make sure and post that and put that in the comments at the top of this, just so you can have an opportunity to do that. Now the Grid Doctor is it's $1,200 off. So if you go on there and I'm just trying to support the channel by selling, my Patriot Supply items, and appreciate it if you could, participate, maybe buy something from there so we can support this channel. We thank you very much for everything you do. I have one more video I'll play on the way out, but I just wanted to talk about my Patriot Supply you hit that QR code if you'd like to go check it out. But I thought this would be a good time to remind you about what we're up against with this government.
I've sat through now almost 2 years of hearings in this Congress, where we've exposed lies at the CDC, shortcuts at the FDA, unconstitutional gun bans at the ATF, over prosecution of January 6ers at the DOJ, targeting common citizens at the FBI, spying by the NSA, illegal mandates for livestock by the USDA, targeting transgenic plant vaccine at the NSF, and censorship the censorship industrial complex of which the NSF is part of. Most Democrats are just fine with this kind of totalitarian state that the bureaucrats are pushing on us. But Republicans at least pretend to be against these things. But what are we going to do this September? We're going to fund every freaking one of those things that we have exposed.
It sets up a fake fight that we all know here is fake. Somebody come down here and tell me it's not fake. You all know it's fake. The compromise has already been reached in a smoke-filled back room here.
But that's what it is political theater, folks. We all know where it ends up. We've seen it. I've been here 12 years. I've seen it 12 times. I refuse to be a thespian in this failure theater. Can we be honest with the American people about what's going on here? This is political theater.
There is the 90-day supply right there. If you're interested, here's the Grid Doctor. Comes with the extra free battery if you purchase it right there. It's pretty badass. You got to check it out at least. It comes with the solar panel. You can also plug it in, charge it up. But the Grid Doctor, the battery lasts forever. I have one, and they're just badass. They're super cool. So anyway, thank you very much for that. God bless everybody. We'll see you again tomorrow night. I'm going to run a short. I'll do probably 45 minutes or something, and just cover whatever happens today, whatever items come about with this shutdown. I'll cover it tomorrow at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. God bless everybody. See you later. Thanks for being here. Please share this show with everyone you know. Please subscribe to the channel and comment. Thank you. God bless everybody. Be safe out there.